just momentarily. Her computer was acting up and she had to reboot it. So you guys know how that goes. And today we do have a few questions and topics and things that we plan on going over. And we didn't have any real, I guess, serious topic to talk about today. We're just answering a bunch of viewer questions. And one thing I would like to talk about is that Amazon launched a new feature in the Amazon Seller app. I'm going to try to pull it up here. It's called Create 3D Models. So it looks like it was only rolled out to some sellers on their app, but not all sellers. And I looked into it because I thought, oh, I'm going to give it a try. And you can only use it on clothing and shoes. So you can do, it's hard to see, but you can do 3D models of your products on Amazon. But this is just for furniture and shoe sellers. So at least they're rolling that out and they're offering it for free. So if you are a shoe seller, and it's like, how do you do that if you're not the brand of like Nike or Adidas? I think they would be the only ones able to do that. And not too many people have private label shoes. Maybe some people do as far as furniture. So while the feature is cool, it really doesn't apply to almost all of us. So if you don't have that feature on your app, I wouldn't worry about it too much because most of us aren't even going to get to be able to use it. Good morning, Reno. Good morning, Freelance Raju and Eminem. One thing I do want to talk about before Lucy hops on here this morning is the importance of doing an advertising campaign if you have never set one up or if you currently have advertised but feel a little bit lost with doing PPC campaigns. I've been really working a lot on PPC campaigns in my account, in my clients' accounts. And one of the things I can say is if you've never done one before, do the keep it simple, stupid model and just go to sponsored products. You can start the easiest campaign of all for everything sellers is I do this blanket all SKU campaign. This is not smart advertising. However, it has always been my best performing ad campaign in my account. And I literally put everything that is for sale in my Amazon account all into one advertising campaign. And I set it to like broad match, loose match, all of the different ones, substitutes. And I put everything at like 7 cents a click or 10 cents a click and just let it ride. And you'd be surprised what great conversion you can get. Hey, Lucy.
Hey, I don't have a camera on this computer. And my other one just derped out. I don't know what's going on with it. It's been spinning at restarting for too long.
Yeah,
So
I've had those problems with my computer in the past as well, as you know. I was just touching a little bit upon advertising campaigns and just ideas and ways that you can set up some ad campaigns before you were able to hop on. So I didn't necessarily want to start without you, but to kind of wrap that up, another thing that you can do is when you're launching a new product or if you have your one item that's not really selling well and you want to give it a good push, obviously make an ad campaign for just that single item. And you could also do it as a simple method, without getting into doing keyword research and everything for setting up ad campaigns, is you can again, always Amazon sponsored product, set it up on that manual campaign and do either the keyword or the product targeting ones and let Amazon just do the work for you. But I always recommend choosing, there's like 2 little bubbles as options on your ad campaign section where you can set your target cost. Always choose that second bubble under keyword. I can't remember what it's called, but when you're on your ad campaign, you'll see it. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of what it's called. So you can set your prices by those 4 different ways of targeting. What you can do from there is collect the data. There's a section in your Amazon ad campaign where you can then click on the search terms. And what that gives you, and this is only if your ad campaign has got traction, if it's gotten clicks and people have made sales, and even if they haven't bought anything, if you're paying for clicks, you can go in your search terms report for that ad, and it tells you exactly what the customer typed in the Amazon search bar that prompted that click. So you can take that information and decide what words you want to add to negative and not target because you're spending money and not converting to sales. Likewise, you can take those great search terms that converted to sales and then use that data to start honing in on keyword campaigns where you are picking the specific phrases or keywords that converted to sale on your simple auto campaign. So that is something I would really recommend everybody get started on doing this year if you've never done an ad campaign in the past, is it really does help give a nice little boost in your sales. Are you still waiting for your other computer to try to upload, or you're just going
I'm not even going to go back to that one until we're done. I've got to get it fixed today, or figure out what it's doing.
Yeah.
But it just went derpy derp. No, I'm pulling up comments and questions and things like that because we've had some great questions on the Facebook group, and I wanted to dive into it a little bit more here.
Yeah, I actually copy and pasted those and made them into clickable banners for us here. So today, one of the questions that somebody had asked in our Facebook group is wondering if a shrink wrapped item will need a child or choke warning sticker. I got a product today without one, and I would like to do the same. So if I do not believe shrink wrap requires you to have the suffocation warning sticker on it. However, if you want to start adding that to it, it's not going to hurt. It's not necessarily a bad idea.
I have always received, when I receive shrink wrap stuff, it usually has the sticker on it. So I've always put the sticker on it. But I believe the policy verbatim is bags with openings of 5 or more inches. So shrink wrap doesn't technically have an opening.
Right.
So you're splitting hairs. On things like this, if you're just in the office and you're like, oh my God, I got to ship these 20 things out. Should I add it? Should I not add it? Go ahead and add it and play it safe. If you are going to do a pallet of 3,000 items and your manufacturer is going to charge you 20 cents a sticker, go Google and find out the exact policy so that you're making a well-informed decision behind that, especially when it's going to affect your production, your labor, your cost, etc. And Amazon always has these types of things deep in the policies. You want to go to Amazon. Don't go to another YouTuber or just Google necessarily. I mean, you can use Google, but when you're clicking on links, go to Amazon's policy exactly. I did this when I was researching the bread bags at Walmart. I wanted to know, can you use the bread bags to ship FBA items in? Now, we go through this a lot. There's things that you can do and there's things that you should do. Can you do it? Yeah. Is anybody going to really look at your bag and measure it and get upset if you do it? No, probably not. You could probably use a bread bag and get away with it for a couple of years before anything happens. Are you supposed to? No, because you're supposed to ship in 1.5 mils. And I believe they just took it down to 1 mil now, bags into Amazon. And the Walmart bread bag does not meet that standard. So, they've changed the millimeter thickness of the poly bags over time. And that's just that is a very specific thing to know about Amazon. So, before you buy 8 billion bags, you're going to want to know that policy for sure. But if you're just wrapping things up in the office and you're like, oh my gosh, I need 3 bags, you know what? If that's the worst that happens in your day, then you're going to move on and just deal. So the next question that I had was about nodes from I think it was one of the Aprils. Did you put that one down?
I did not. I only grabbed questions from the main Facebook group.
Oh, okay. Well, this was a good one. I don't mind going over it in here. This is something we normally, let me see if I can share my screen here, not have the computer poop out. There we go. So April asked about her product not being searchable anymore. I believe it was April. And I said, well, is it indexed? And we talk about this a lot more in the bundle group than we do in the main group because most of the people in the main group are doing retail arbitrage and online arbitrage or something like that. And it's not really applicable. But I have had RAOA items that have lost their nodes. And it really sucks because if you're not the owner of the listing, there's nothing you can do about it. So to test that out, we're just going to grab an ASIN. I like this little tea dispenser thing. I think that's pretty cute. I always grab my ASINs up here. I know you can scroll down, scroll. This is how you tell if somebody's brand registered. They're brand registered and they have A+ content. You get A+ content as soon as you do the application for brand registering. So understanding about brands kind of can tell you more about what listings to jump on or not jump on. But down here, you'll find the ASIN. And sometimes you can see that it does look like it has nodes. It's in home kitchen, tea storage chest. But to really, really find out, you're going to take your ASIN, and it has to be the child. You're going to want to check the child because parents are different. And you just paste it in. And if it shows up, then it means that it's there. So it is showing up right here. And I have all the extensions running. Come on now, guys. So it is showing up. If you get a page, and we'll just say, I don't think that's going to do anything. But if you get a page and it's like, oh my gosh, my product's not there, or it shows no item found, then that means you are not indexed and you need to fix the browse nodes. So we talk about trees and browse nodes. If you have an item like that, we'll go back to this and go back one more. And you look at this, typically in the top left right here is the browse nodes. But this, let's say that it was in home and kitchen, and then in coffee and tea organizers, and then in tea organizers, and then in single tea organizers. That's the tree. That's the branch, the node that it's on within Amazon. And what happens is Amazon will sometimes come in here, and let's say there was one that was just like hot drink organizer. And now they're going to split it up, and they're going to do tea and coffee and split that branch into two. When they make those changes, it messes up the system. And they really do this all the time. They mess things up, and then they act dumb, like, oh, we didn't do anything. I'm going, how did it? Yeah, you guys did things, you did updates, and you messed it up, and now I got to go back and redo it. Typically, the fix is you just go into edit your product and choose, it will have a little spot for nodes. It's not called nodes. What's it called? It's called
category tree, or so. I can't remember what it's called.
Product category. There's an edit button next to it. It's about fourth down on the main thing, and you'll just pick a new one. If it doesn't get fixed within 24 hours from that, then you need to do a flat file, and that kind of sucks. But a flat file will override any issues with Amazon. I don't know why it's such a more intense fix or better fix.
It is called item type keyword.
There you go. Item type keyword. I love how they change the name for things across categories.
Yeah. Well, now when you go to make listings, how you put in your product title, and before you can click the next button, now Amazon is telling you what the product node is, and then you have to click that you accept that.
Oh my God, it's never been right. I've in the last 3 weeks, that suggestion has never been correct. Their AI still sucks too. Can you upgrade that? Are you listening?
Yeah.
Please. Yeah. Please.
So this next one is, always poopy when Amazon does things. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that now you can't really do Clinique anymore, Clinique makeup. And a lot of people sold the Clinique. This is from Ian in our main group. And he says, if you have access to Pacer, you might want to check out the response to the complaint in the ASICS versus Hasbrand case. Essentially, ASICS lawyered up with Vori's attorneys and is suing two big Amazon sellers. Now, his post is long, so I only put the first part of his post. And for those of you who don't know what, I call it Pacer. It stands for Public Access to Court Electronic Records. I believe you have to pay for that, even though it's public record cases. But that is so you can log in and you can read court cases. So certain attorneys, obviously would have access to this. I was not able to log in and read it, but he broke down in the main Facebook group what was going on. So ASICS is a brand many people have sold, and so sounds like they're going to be coming after resellers now. So that's kind of no fun. There you go.
Is ASICS, is that the shoe?
It is a shoe. Yep, I have a pair.
They're. I really think that companies that spend all their time like trying to do. I'd rather see companies that succeed more by giving back to the community, offering a solid product, marketing, etc. Do a lot better than those that are trying to go after the little guy, penny pinch, squeeze their employees. It's just, I guess I'd have to subscribe here, but filed on Thursday without authorization. Huh.
Yeah. So I just thought I would throw that out there because I know a lot of people are shoe sellers.
That's nuts. They ought to countersue and take them to the cleaners.
And maybe they will. Maybe they will. He does have a long post. It's very informative. He shares some really great things in the group. So I just wanted to throw that out there and mention Clinique if I haven't mentioned it before, or if you guys haven't seen. Clinique is starting to lock down the brand if they haven't locked it all down by now.
This is kind of where I go when I'm on the fence on should I sell that or not. The selling guys have a great board that you can go through, and I don't know if it's on this or I got to click one more. Yeah, it's on here. So they go through and they give you like a guideline. It's definitely a guideline. American Girl, if you're kind of thinking, oh, should I do American Girl, issues or restrictions reported, some risk. So some risk, I'm like, okay, I'd probably do some risk. My account's pretty healthy. I depending on the profit level, I might do that. With this, I don't know who this is, but Altec Lansing, legal action or policy warning. Probably going to stay away from that one. Let's see if ASICS is on here, gated. So they just say it's gated. Stay away.
Well, that just happened on Thursday. They would have time to have updated this list.
Baby bullet, legal action or policy warning. So, when I see people who are posting in the, I'll share the link, easy peasy. When I see people who are asking, can I sell this on Amazon? It's like, just bookmark this and then go look at it. Just bookmark it. Yeah. And you don't have to ask. It's very, very simple.
And this, I think, is an appropriate question for this time of year because many of us sell on eBay as well as Amazon, and it is tax season. And just a friendly reminder, those of you who maybe weren't an LLC in the past because you were selling as a sole proprietor on Amazon, and this year you are now an LLC. Business taxes are due a month before your regular personal tax filing. So business taxes are due in March. File date, and your April taxes, of course, are your regular taxes. So make sure you get those business taxes done a month earlier if you are new to being an LLC. Okay, so this kind of falls in suit is, does eBay collect and file tax for you monthly like Amazon? And the answer to that is yes. So you don't need to worry about eBay, just like you don't need to worry about Amazon. So for those that sell on both, I thought that was a great question for this time of year.
Yes, and I did have some questions yesterday. I had mentioned that I'm getting audited, and that's what's really eaten up a lot of my time. The lady's actually going to come into my office and look at all my receipts. But here in Washington, if you have paid, let's say I go to Walmart and I buy some bath towels, and then I sell them on Amazon. Walmart's not maybe a good example. Let me think here. Target. Let's say I go to Target because Target's not reseller friendly and I have to pay taxes there. And I buy a bath towel at Target and I pay $10. And in Washington, I'd probably pay about $1 tax on that bath towel. So now I have paid $11 on the $10 bath towel. I go and I sell it on Amazon for $20, and Amazon collects the sales tax on that. So what Washington allows me to do is to tally up all of my receipts from Target, from anywhere where I've paid tax on goods that I resold and get reimbursed for that sales tax because my reseller permit was not applicable in those situations. And they allowed me to go back 4 years. So I worked directly with somebody from the state. I went through all of my receipts. Last spring, gosh, we spent hours, probably a good 40, 60 hours on this project, but I got back, I think it was over 20,000. It was a lot of money. It was done quarterly for 4 years. I'm sorry, 2 years were done for month by month. And then the last couple of years I've been filing quarterly. So each quarter, a couple $100, sometimes upwards of $500 times 4 years. They gave me a very large check last year, which was very nice of them to reimburse me of the money that I paid. And that triggered, I'm sure that triggered the audit. And so now they want to verify and look at those receipts. Because I was telling my son's like, well, it's very simple. You put in the numbers and then that's what it is. I said, yes, but honesty doesn't always run throughout everybody.
Yeah.
And it'd be really easy to say, oh, instead of 10 beach towels, I bought 25 and I paid, 3 times the tax and not have the paperwork to back it up. So that's why it's always important to do your paperwork. I've never been audited by tax stuff, but my background is dealing with auditors, so I'm a paperwork queen on that front. So I'm not worried about it at all, but I do have to show her. We had a bit of an argument there because she was like, I just need all the receipts for 2020, 21, 22, and up till September 30th of 23. And I said, I'd rather have you come to the office or me go to your office and physically bring them, because to scan all of those receipts for 4 years is going to be hundreds of PDFs. And so she's like, okay, we'll not do all of that time period. Let me narrow it down and then I'll come into the office. I'm like, okay, good. Because that works better.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine scanning that many receipts?
No. That's way too many to do it. Pull out banker boxes of year 1, year 2. That's just too much.
Oh, and I might be. I don't get petty much, but I would be tempted to get petty on that.
Yeah, I heard a new one for petty. The girl called herself a petty labelle. That cracked me up.
I love it.
Yeah, so Joe says an audit of an Amazon seller seems like it'd be such a nightmare. I have like 1,000 receipts per quarter here. Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
so you want me to scan not only the 1,000, from one quarter, but all of them, that's just invoices. And then some things aren't even a paper receipt in your box. A lot of them are email receipts from your online orders. So it's just like,
That's what I said. I said, I will set you up with a table, a computer. You'll have access. You can pull whatever receipt you want.
Mm-hmm.
And just bring out, I said, I'll get the dolly out. I'll bring out my paperwork. I mean, it's not something it's not a handful.
Yeah.
Handful. But it is a different business model. And you got to understand that most of the time she's dealing with businesses that are, let's just say a shop that sells shirts or whatever. And they buy wholesale, so they're not going to be reimbursed to the quantity that an Amazon RA/OA seller would be. And for a lot of those years, I was doing mostly OA/RA, so just a ton of receipts.
Yes. And that was the last of the questions that I had.
Okay, I got questions. Hope you got answers. I did want to say yesterday I went over calculating goals and everything, and I don't know if I should really go back into it. Just really good to kind of get my goals hashed out. I did you know how you want your Amazon check to be X amount, right?
Yes.
And then if you take that amount and you divide it by your profit, you're going to get how many items you need to send in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of includes the cost of goods too. So I'm kind of debating on how to rework that or
And
adjust.
whether it's going to be like a per item, like I need to buy X amount of items, or I need to spend X amount of dollars. You mean in
Yeah.
that way?
Yeah, just
Which
kind of.
one to target? Yeah, because if on average, it's always I spend this much to make. I guess it doesn't. You could track it by items or dollar spend.
I'm just saying that I like. Let's say I want to get $1,000 from my Amazon check, and I had put, well, if I make $3 a piece, then I need to send in X amount, right? But that $1,000 paycheck is just for profits because I'm only dividing it by the profit per item. If I divided it by the total, the average cost of goods plus the profit, then I would get a true number. So
what do
that
you guys do? Those of you that are watching, how do you personally track to hit your sales quota for yourself to predict the paycheck that you're going to get from Amazon? What are your tips? How do you figure out how much you're going to buy? Are you shopping by so many items a week, by a dollar spend? What is your formula, if you will? And Joe says, I try to spend and send in 1,000 to 1,500 on inventory per week. And you mean items, like 1,000 items? That's the way I'm reading that. And that's been working for me at the level I'm at. And doing that, did you figure out that formula because you know that many items generally has an average ticket price to indicate the paycheck that you want? Because it definitely is, I definitely juggle and flip flop of how I do that too. And as much as I sit and I do my numbers, sometimes it's like if I had that goal, I don't always meet that goal because maybe this week I was so busy with all these other things, I just didn't get in as big of a shipment. But next week I maybe had a triple shipment. I definitely find inconsistencies in my shipping. However, I do ship out every week. I'm consistent with weekly shipments. So, and Jen says, I do a dollar amount since I have an average ROI. And so and that's another question. Does your dollar amount fluctuate, right? Because sometimes we have better sale weeks or better sale months. And so, our Amazon paycheck always fluctuates. We can never be sure of, like, when you have an hourly job and your paycheck is going to be X every Friday or every other Friday. Amazon, it fluctuates. So do you base that also your spend on what that payout was? That's some people do that method too.
Go ahead.
And well, Joe just says, in order to pay myself enough and keep all the wheels spinning. Yeah, I get that.
Heather says, hold on. Heather says, I have a daily, weekly spend goal.
Oh, I missed that one. A daily, weekly. Yeah, and that's the other thing is do you guys do you keep that whether your sales were up or down? Like, do you keep that consistent? I'm going to use small numbers just to keep it easy. But if you consistently want to spend $500 a week, and that's your budget, but then your next payout was only $1,000, and you're supposed to be spending $500 a week, do you fluctuate that spend based on a bad sales week, or do you just let a little debt pile up on the credit card, knowing that trajectory is going to change again to where you're going to make up for it? Those are interesting formulas and ways people do. And I don't know if one way is the best way, but I do love to know what other people do.
I totally agree. I wanted to keep it simple this year. So I went over this yesterday I think just on my YouTube channel. I think I streamed it to the main Facebook group too. But I added this to the dashboard. So if you have purchased the dashboard, it's now another tab down here. And I put the amount of Amazon check needed, and this is for profit. I'm just going to put that in here. Because if I'm only using the average profit per item, then that's it. That's what it'd be. Now, if you wanted to change this to the total, you would need to put in the cost of goods plus your profit, which mine would be $9 right now, and then do the calculations. But I want to just keep it simple and say, okay, what do I need to hit on weekly basis, what do I need to get out? And then I can take that number and say, okay, I need to get out whatever, 100 items, which means I need to go shop for 100 items. And if my average cost of goods, oh man, now this computer's griping.
Oh no. I love that little formula table on the sheet because it just makes it easy to not have to math, right?
Yeah.
Just to put in the number and let the sheet math for you. It just makes things so simple and nice. And then I had another question too for you guys. Oh, I will say that Heather, she says that she adjusts limits if needed to maintain cash flow and that she always pays off her credit card every month. I do too. I always keep that paid off as well. It's so important to me. But one of my other questions is, and Lucy and I have talked about this before. So would you rather, right? Because we talk about maybe we get these cheap dollar store items and they cost you $1, but you make like $3 or $7 on them, right? So your ROI is really, really great. But you're also talking like $3 and $7 profits. Versus, would you rather put out, say, a pair of shoes that cost you $50, where you're going to make maybe $15, where you're putting a lot of capital out for a lesser ROI return, but you're only having to sell one pair of shoes versus, 5 or 6 of the dollar items to make that same $12 profit. And I'd love to know, what do you prefer as a reseller? Do you prefer maybe some of the lower dollar buys with that high ROI with the less dollar return versus the higher output with the bigger return, even though it's a lesser percentage? Does that make sense? It's like it makes sense in my head.
That's why I was going through yesterday, and I was like, well, let me compare with the high fees and the low fees, because taking the Q4 numbers of projections, it was definitely a different beast. So now I want to project outside of the Q4 time. And then if I just change from $4 to $25 profit, you could see that you get just significantly less. And then sourcing the higher, you're not going to find as many high dollar items. And, you have to source less of them, which is nice. Not ASICs though. No ASICs.
Yeah.
So been playing around with that, which is great because then I can. I was telling everybody yesterday I'm using that Ramsey Every Dollar app to do kind of a budget and more projections.
And how are you liking it so far now that you've got it set up?
I like it. I mean, I've always done it in Excel, and put things together, but I really like that it's super user friendly. It's easy to change things and categorize, and then it gives you little pie graphs of how much you've spent and how much you need to go. And it really just kind of, I feel like I'm more in control and I know what bills are coming up.
Does it do like the virtual envelope method there for you?
It can.
Yeah.
It can. I'm using it more of if I project X income coming. If I know my bills, because that's very stable, I know what my bills are, then I can kind of project what my current incomes are. And then I can say, okay, well, if I do this or that, is that going to increase or decrease? Like if I go after higher dollar profit items or do more advertising, kind of play around with the numbers really easily. And I'm just liking it. I like the easiness of it. I tried QuickBooks last year. God, that was like, let me just smash my hand with a hammer.
And I love pie graphs or like the line graphs. I'm a visual person, so I'm a visual learner, and just to see numbers on a sheet is just like you start to go cross-eyed for me. I like seeing the visual pie charts or the graphs going up and down. I love stuff like that.
It was really helpful because we had our dashboard. So I was like, well, what do I averagely pay for storage fees or for advertising? Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. That's easy to pull. I know where all my numbers are.
Yeah.
All right. So I got other questions. Can I send in a cosmetic product that expires on October 25 now? Yeah. Why wouldn't you be able to?
Unless it was October of 2023. No. Of 2024. Absolutely.
I have some candy I'm sending in, and I think it expires June or August.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, we got to get that gone. Get in, get out. It's
Yeah, and especially if it's meltable, and if it's not, then yeah, want to get it sold before it expires, even if it's not meltable.
This person wrote another one. I have a cosmetic product that has 500 days remaining. Am I able to send it in to have it at least 900 days? What?
Yeah, I saw that question. I was a bit lost with that one.
What was it? Somebody posted something on Facebook, and I went, "What?" Like, huh? I can't remember what. Oh, it was on merchant fulfilling. It was a good question, but I didn't understand the first time. But basically, they're asking if you ship something merchant fulfilled and you get kind of weight checked or dimension checked on it, and they find that you didn't pay the right price, what happens? And to my memory, they send you an email and say that something was wrong and we need to charge and the difference is X. But I could be wrong. It's been a long time. Most of the time they don't really check. They don't got time in Q4.
Yeah.
Have you ever been weight checked?
No.
We're not talking about at the doctor. I hate that weight check. I think you're worrying about things that don't need to be worried about.
Right.
Like people who worry about returns. They start this business and they're like, oh my God, what about the returns? Don't worry about it. Like they're just a small part of the business. That's why I throw in a 20% cushion to my numbers because you will have some returns.
It's always going to happen.
There's
always part of doing business. So you just have to let it happen.
If I owned a store, that'd be like saying, oh, I'm worried about people, what do you call it? Pickpocketing? Not pickpocketing.
Stealing your
inventory. You could be worried about that, but is that going to stop you from opening a store?
Right.
No.
Employees are going to steal. It's just part of it. Yeah. Hi, Karen.
Okay, I got to read this. In MN, which is Minnesota, I am having to do a form for each seller I'm buying for. Do you know if I put the local Michael's address in, the one I go to most, or do I put the corporate address in? This is for tax exempt issues. You need to put in the address of wherever you are purchasing the item.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the tax that you pay. So in my area, it's like every other street has a different tax bracket and code. And it's ridiculous, like 8.6 here, but 8.5 here. And you need to put in I have it bookmarked, but our state has a thing where you can type in the address and then you find what code you're under to see exactly what tax is for that. And it's the bill of, I can't think of the name right now.
For what? Figuring out your state tax?
No. When you order something and it arrives at the place, it's like the destination.
The bill of landing?
It might be that, but I want to say it's like that, but it's slightly different acronym.
Anyway.
We'll move on. All right. Let's see here. I just got to read these because they're very long. I have a little product, and as soon as I put Amazon labels and jumped into creating a shipping plan, I found out it was requesting an expiration date. It's neither on their website nor on the package, and I do not know if it would go through if I send it without the corresponding date with creating the shipping, because now I will also have to take off the Amazon label. This might damage the packaging, and the package is already a small cosmetic. Just add the date to it. Just print out another label. We've all done that where we forget to put the date on. Go over to your Dymo and type in a date and then just print out those stickers.
Yeah. That's the nice thing about the Dymos. You can make your own little expiration labels if you want.
Somebody said they do about 30,000 a month on eBay. Holy macaron.
Wow.
How do you do that?
Yeah, I've never come close to that on eBay.
Yeah. We've all stickered things we shouldn't have. We've all forgotten stickers. I had a really nice tape measure that went off to Amazon. I was really upset about that.
You put it inside your box on accident?
Yeah, and it shipped out. So
that's funny.
Somebody asks, Big C15, how do you get ungated in Bath and Body Works without an invoice? You can't. It's a natural ungate. So after you have proven yourself, or there's a magic formula that nobody knows. So people keep asking things, and it's like that information is not public. So there's some sort of formula that you'll hit where you get naturally ungated for certain things, including Trader Joe and Bath and Body Works. So keep checking, and that is all you can do. You can try submitting invoices, from what you get on your emails for Bath and Body Works products, but it may not work. It sometimes will work. Lego, I know Lego will work if you purchase from Lego, but I don't know about Bath and Body Works because I've been ungated for so long.
Yeah, and then sometimes you just wait and focus on all the other things that you can sell. Don't hyper focus on what you cannot.
All right. Let's say I had a day like Friday or Thursday to go through returns and process them and charge the respecting restocking fee or not approve the refund at all. How does that work if Amazon auto processes the return after 2 days once it arrives back to you? Is there a way to change that? You can fight returns, but you're most likely going to lose. That's another one that I just gave up on worrying about. Unless if I grossly get a wrong product back, and I'll open up a safety claim. But if people buy your shirt and they try it on, they didn't like it, and they stuffed it back in a bag and sent it back to you, that's not grounds for a restocking fee in Amazon's eyes. It's when they send their old shirt back and it's a different item altogether. If it's just mild damage from normal wear and tear and returns, they're going to expect you to adhere to their return policy.
There is, speaking of grossly returned things, now this is an eBay return. There is a YouTuber I have watched a couple of his episodes because he's here in Vegas. Reno, who watches us, had told me about him. And his channel is called Flippin' Ain't Easy on YouTube. He did Flippin' Ain't Easy. He did a YouTube episode, I want to say a week ago. And I mean, it's grounds for lawsuit for the Postal Service. So he sold an item on eBay to some college students, apparently. I can't recall what state. And they used like a return label, but they used it twice. The same label. So the post office didn't catch, like, we've already scanned and this label has already been used. And they sent back to him boxes of garbage, just utter garbage. And he shows it on the video. He opens it and I mean, dirty underwear. And then the second, it's filthy. It's garbage. And then he got a second box back and inside of it was like hamburger meat. And so, yes. And there's another YouTuber that also got the same thing. So it appears that it's from the same college in this same city. So I don't know if these are kids in college that maybe are eBay sellers too and don't like these guys on YouTube. I really don't know why they are being targeted, but they have now called up the U.S. Post Office over this matter. And I believe they're calling up the college to report these kids, because now it becomes a federal crime because you're using the post office to do this sort of thing. So I was like, wow, I mean, I've had bad returns. Like after Christmas, I had someone return used baby socks that weren't even the socks I sold them. I've had people return like baby Halloween costume that had all the candy, drool, and dribble on it, reused. That's the worst I think I've ever had returned to me. I mean, what these guys are getting back are beyond.
Yeah, that is nuts. Heather says Kevin from Commonwealth Picker on YouTube has gotten similar items from a college in Illinois. I do know.
And maybe it's the same. Maybe that's the same two guys then. It's terrible.
I do know that if you open up enough claims against other people for basically doing fraud, eventually their account will get suspended.
Yeah.
Now, as a buyer, it's really easy to probably open up a new account or have your spouse or your mom or whatever. It's not the greatest, but Amazon will eventually 86 them from the platform. It takes a lot.
Yeah.
I wish they'd be a little bit more, but they want the money and they hope they've learned their lesson. And I'm going, you guys give them everything. And us as sellers, we look at you sideways wrong, and it's, oh, let's make some sort of case against them.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. All right, I've got a from Nana's Flippin'. She said thank you. Well, you're welcome. About the virtual office, I found a virtual office with a physical location in my area. They email me when I get mail, and I just swing by and pick it up. I can also receive packages there, which is great for ungating. This is an actual professional office building, like attorney offices, so it looks really good when people look up the address, say when applying for business funding. It is with Alliance Virtual Offices, if anybody's interested. So that is a good bit of information. I'm going to plug that into our chat. If anybody is kind of working from home right now and you're wanting to get more ungated, or you're having that roadblock with wholesalers, that might be a great opportunity. Thank you for the tip. Oh, I'm trying to find one. Something about a cell phone case. When it came in, the screen protector was already cracked. They clicked return and refund, and it ended up being a replacement. You clicked wrong.
They're doing that now. A lot of my returns that I had at Christmas time, it came with it, that I had to replace it. And I don't like that feature on Amazon. I don't like that because I show that I have some in stock. These were merchant fulfilled, that I have to do a replacement. I don't care for that. I don't know how you feel about it.
No, if you have stock, then that replacement will go to you. If you don't have stock, then they handle it a different way. What I don't like from a buyer perspective is when I went to go do my returns, the first option is to get a replacement. Yeah. And the second option is to have a credit on your Amazon account. Then you have to kind of scroll down to say, no, I want it to go back to my
Yes, card. I had that for a pair of jeans I bought my son. He tried them on and they were just a little too small. Mm-hmm. So I said, that's okay. I'll just return them and buy the right size. And that was what we were faced with too, was this replacement. It was very hard to just do a return.
Oh, yeah.
The replacement feature, I just don't love it. So for instance, I had, because of this replacement feature, so I had somebody buy from me. It was a face scrub that I sold. And look, I sold a ton of these face scrubs during Q4, and the fault was mine. I was selling people the wrong size, like the ounces. The listing didn't say the ounces in the title or the bullet points, and it looked exactly the same. Well, of course, if you can use the Zoom feature, I was selling like the 4 ounce and the one for sale on Amazon was 7 ounce on the tube, let's say. And I sold tons of them with no complaints. Well, one person wrote to me saying, I ordered the 7 ounce, I only received the 4. And that's how I found out the error was mine. And so they put in for a return saying to please send me the right size. So I wrote the customer and I said, unfortunately, this was my oversight and I don't have any of the 7 ounce in stock. These are the only sizes that I have. So of course that stays on your return dashboard, right? That replacement thing, it just stays there. So I did get their item back and I did refund them. Well, they filed an A to Z claim on not getting that replacement.
What?
And so, yes. And they won their A to Z claim on my account. Yeah. So I'm just not a fan of it, because what if that replacement thing is for something like that? Like, oh crap, I sold a bunch of those and they were the wrong ounces. And then you're praying that you don't get more, returns on your error. But, if all of them are going to have these replacement requests, especially if they were an error-based thing like that, it scares me. And then some people, we can't help but feel worried about the scammers that are out there because it's just so real. And, I will inspect things when they come back, because I'm always afraid of like, okay, did they do a switcheroo on something? And I'll check the items. I will say more often than not, the returns I get are just a legit return. So the scale is more in the correct way than but when you do have those experience with the scammers, it leaves you a bit scarred.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, well, I don't want to replace this thing to a scammer again. So we can do, because that's the first thing we jump to in our mind, because it's hard not to.
Yep, for sure. And they stick out, and that's what you gotta sit back and tell yourself that
And
you've
not only that,
sold.
all the labels.
Oh
Right?
yeah,
Shipping label to them, the paid shipping label that I had to pay for them to return it. Then I have to send a replacement to them with another paid shipping label. I just don't want to.
well, yeah, and you got to think like those little things eat up your time, eat up your mindset, eat up everything. In the grand scheme of things, I sometimes have to step back and be like, okay, well, I sold 1,000 things
I
fine,
know.
and there's just this one
And it's
thing.
hard. It's still hard to not feel that way. And we all get that returns are part of business. It's not that so much the return, it's this replacement feature. I just, it bothers me.
Gets under your skin.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't think I'm alone with that. I just don't think
No.
I'm alone in feeling that way.
No, but go back to the store analogy. You have people that return stuff to the store all the time. That is just not.
But I didn't have to pay for shipping labels for that.
No, but you had to pay for gas and you had to go there.
No, they did. They had to pay for gas and go there and return it.
That's true. That's true. It should be something we could opt out of. I wish we could. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Joe, I agree. I want to opt out of that.
The last comment that I had on our channel is about the subscribe and save. And I believe there's nothing you can do to get into the subscribe and save other than performance based,
It is performance based. It used to be, if I'm not mistaken, reserved only for brand owners. I don't think that that's necessarily true now. I took some time helping one of my clients fight to get approved for the subscribe and save. And he was a new product he had just launched, but it would have been the type of product that would have been the perfect subscribe and save type of item. And so we wrote to Amazon. Well, I really dug deep into the subscribe and save policies on Amazon. And it is a bit cryptic and doesn't give a lot of details. But I found somewhere hidden in there, and of course, this is going back during Christmas time, that when it is a new product, it has to at least have been on Amazon for 3 months. So I did find that in there somewhere. It does have to meet certain sale volume and metrics. And what we did is we just opened up case after case. And of course, it still is this weight gain. But automatically, just out of the blue, after he had been selling it for 3 months, after a few cases, they let him know he was eligible for the subscribe and save. So if you have the type of product that's eligible for that, and we're not talking about jumping on an existing, let's say, Nature Made vitamin listing. We're talking about your own item that you are selling on Amazon. So if you're a private label seller that is selling an item like vitamins, like, I don't know, dog beef jerky snacks, things that people would normally need to have on a subscribe and save, jelly, just those kind of items, I would keep trying for it if you want to be eligible for it. You have to give a discount with subscribe and save too. So subscribe and save.
Hold on, I just got the email. Let me read it.
I think there's like discount tiers that you can do too. Like if they buy one or if they buy two or more.
I might not have it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't recall if I saved that email because they did send it out to all of us. I got it too. But I remember that there was tiers of discounts you can give by how many units they buy. Because that's what subscribe and save is. So you do need to offer a discount.
All right. It says, "Dear seller, congratulations. One or several of your FBA products recently became eligible to participate in subscribe and save. The newly eligible items have been automatically enrolled at your preferred default enrollment discount of 0%.
Oh, interesting.
I set this up somewhere with Amazon funding an additional 5% discount for tiered deliveries when a customer receive 5 or more items in one delivery."
Okay, so that's where that tiered thing came in. And really, what would be the point of doing subscribe and save without a discount? Because most of us Like for me, I have subscribe and save for me on some vitamins that I take. And I like that feature. For one, I don't have to try to remember to order it. And number two, it's because it comes with the discount. I mean, that's the winning factor for most people. So I think if you're going to do subscribe and save as a seller, I think it would benefit you to offer the discount.
All right, hold on, I got to log in. But within that email, you can click on your setting a default enrollment discount for future editions and your subscribe and save performance dashboard. So on my dashboard visually, I can't show because it has things, but it gives you, if I do a 5% discount on this one item, the potential sales lift is $245. Now, I don't know if that's 5% off and I'm expected to get $245 worth of sales. I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is, a lot of people will also do, because they get the 5% off, they'll do the subscribe and save order, but then they'll cancel the subscription to that before it comes around again because they really just got it because of the 5%. But that's okay too, because if you're already willing to offer that 5% off, it's like, so what? If that little discount there got you the sale, you know, you're always still going to make your discounts to where you're still profiting.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you have options to go and do different things within that dashboard. Mm-hmm. So there's that. Okay. I actually did have two other questions. I use it for, Joe says I use it for vitamins, especially specialty items and water filters. Yeah.
And because then you also don't have to think about it. You know, I just got, it was funny because this morning I just got an email for 3 of my vitamins. They were set to ship out this week. So, and of course I knew I was running low on them, but if I have to do it, sometimes I will procrastinate. I might be out of that vitamin for a couple weeks before I finally get around to making the order. Mm-hmm. So I love it for that reason. I don't have to think or procrastinate to put in my order.
We have, I think, some shampoos, conditioners, paper towels, and trash bags set to auto ship every X amount. Okay, I am currently dealing with, it's a manufacturer barcode question. I'm currently dealing with this and trying to create my first shipment for my private label product that I just had manufactured. Since I own the UPC code, can I download the manufacturer barcode from GS1, put those on the packaging? Would you recommend this, or would you go to the steps and do the Amazon barcode? You can do either, because if you set up your listing with manufacturer barcode, you can either print the barcode that starts with the X, or you can do the manufacturer barcode. Yep. But if you have Amazon barcode as your selection, then you have to use Amazon barcode.
Yep.
So, good question. Let's see here. The other one I have here, my account is currently inactive. Due to product authenticity issue. I'm hiring a service to take care of this. These people prepare and send an appeal almost every day, and within an average of 1 to 1.5 hours, Amazon returns with a generic answer. You did not provide us with enough information. Is there a limit to the appeals that can be submitted, and will sending such persistent appeals work? Have you or the people in your network had an experience? Yes, we have had experience. No, it will not work. Do not send them the same thing over and over and over again, or you will get the dreaded now you can't send anything in button. And really look through and see what you are missing, because every person that has come to me who has said I'm not missing anything, I find something within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you truly are not missing anything, then I would suggest putting the PDF in upside down or something like that, or calling and saying, what are the notes on this case? Because sometimes doing that, they'll have some back end notes, and they're like, oh, it's because your supplier's website is not legit, or something to that effect. They'll say something maybe. But 9 times out of 10, you did not put the information in there. With any cases that is going on with Amazon, that's typically the problem. So really line by line go through and see what is Amazon asking for, and did you put it in the paperwork and do that. So there is some tips there, and depending on what the product authenticity case is about, it's most likely your invoice is not annotated and does not have the required information. You might be like, well, the invoice doesn't have the website. Okay, go find the website and annotate it. That's what you got to do. And if it's in a different language, you need to transcribe it and then annotate it. Don't send in invoices in a different language. That's like a normal thing. And then some places are just not authorized retailers. So if you are using an invoice from Alibaba, I don't care what you do with it. It's not going to be legit.
Right.
It is not an authorized place. So it is helpful if you have a community, say in like our Facebook group or another community out there, where maybe buddy up with somebody. I know in our main groups, in our bundle group, we recently kind of grouped everybody up into four people. I think one group has 5 people, but mastermind or, a little tighter knit communities. So if you're interested in that, go to Facebook and see if anybody wants to be your buddy. It helps to have a buddy in these types of situations because you can send them, hey, this is what I'm sending in. What's wrong with it? Because just like a resume or your homework or something like that, where you want another set of eyes, fresh eyes, to kind of look it over and see what is wrong, because you've been staring at it for 12 times now. So make a friend. Make a friend. Make a friend that's trustworthy too.
Yeah.
So that's what I got on that. Joe says
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're gonna say what Joe says about how he won a counterfeit with Walmart. I won a counterfeit with a Big Lots receipt before Christmas.
Exactly.
The UPC code was on it. I'm sure UPC code was on your Walmart receipt too. I was going to ask you, do you have a leads list for sale this week?
I will as soon as my other computer boots up.
Oh, okay.
I cannot. This computer is not as good at running multiple things at one time, so I could not pull up and copy and paste.
Yeah. So
it took everything it had to bring up my email.
Yeah. So for anyone interested in the weekly lead list Lucy has been putting out, that should be available a little later this morning.
Yes, I will post it in the Facebook group, and you will need to be on the quick side in getting that. So keep that in mind, that they are limited, very limited on what's going on this week. So it's kind of like, buy it now. It's kind of like bananas. They're going to get old and brown. Not good. Although you can take older ones and usually find some good stuff on them. I've done that before. Did that the other day, didn't we? I think I went in one of our other groups and did a leads thing. I can't remember. I need to go get my computer fixed. Tina, what are you doing today?
I'm going to your mother's house today.
Oh, that's right. You're cutting her hair, right? Or cutting Linda's hair?
Yeah, I'm going over there and doing haircuts.
Awesome. For those that don't know, my mother loves Tina. She always, Tina's just come over. I love Tina. She cut my hair so nice. Turn, you have to deal with my mom. I'm sorry.
I love your mom. I don't know why you say that.
Well, because my mom's a handful.
Well, not to me, because I'm not her daughter.
Yes, that's true. If you'd like to take over that job, it's a big
and Lucy's mom always has candy at her house. Little Hershey chocolates, and I like that.
Because she's diabetic, and so let's eat some chocolate. Yeah, I get her on her for that. She has to take those stupid shots, and she feels crappy, and then I'm like, well, quit eating chocolates.
Well, you guys, thank you for joining us today. I'm glad you hung out with us. I hope anybody walked away with a valuable little nugget. And I think next week I want to check in with you guys that bought the spreadsheet that we use to track our finances, and see how you're liking yours, and if you're using it, do a little accountability check-in with you all.
I'm using mine, Tina. I filled mine out for January.
Yep, mine's done too. And for those watching, thanks for joining us. And as always, if you're ever interested in being in the main Facebook group, if you're not already, just request to join. And if you're in that group's free, it doesn't cost money. We have our bundles Facebook group, we have a BOLO group, and we have a VA group. And those are all a different paid group, just depending on what it is. So, keep that in mind if you're ever interested. And have a great weekend, everybody. And stay on, Lucy, because I'm going to talk to you when we're done here. And
I guess.
guys, next Friday.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.